This is the first devlog for Full Moon Calling. I'm really excited to finally start showing you my progress on this game, especially because I've been going back and forth with this project for years. To summarize the timeline of FMC, the first version was in 2021. I challenged myself to make an interactive Halloween video on YouTube in 1 month. I didn't finish it, but I did complete about half of the gameplay, which is kind of wild in hindsight. Because I didn't meet my own strict deadline, I ended up dropping it. Fast forward to 2023. I wanted to continue the idea. I already had scripts for the next chapters, and I thought it would be a cool project to revive. But instead of keeping it as an interactive video, I decided to turn it into a visual novel. And then Blue Story happened, so I paused FMC again. To the end of 2024, I started working on FMC again, but this time I rebranded everything instead of continuing where I left off. That's why some characters look different. They have new designs instead of the original costumes. But because I focused almost only on writing and scripting for about 5 months, and I was juggling other projects at the same time, I burned out really hard with FMC. Now we're at the end of 2025, and I'm back to coding it. As soon as my exams ended, I started working on the introduction of the game, which is what this devlog will focus on. Since this is a visual novel, there's a lot of dialogue and storytelling. But I also wanted some gameplay, so in the intro, there are 3 main games. The first one is finding equipment for the ritual using a flashlight. The second is drawing the ritual circle with chalk. And third, setting up curtains by dragging the rings onto the pole. Seem easy, right? For the flashlight, making objects clickable was easy. I just followed a tutorial. The hard part was making the flashlight work correctly. The flashlight is basically a dark overlay with a white circle in the center using a multiply effect. But it kept flickering badly. Right now it flickers a little. But early versions were way worse after days of debugging. The issue came from layering. I was placing clickable images behind the flashlight image. But apparently images shouldn't have a positive layer value because it affects the chat box. The chat box tries to stay on top, so it forces things to disappear when dialogue appears. I eventually learned it's better to keep all images on negative layers. This single variable caused me days of frustration. The coding was literally 99% of me figuring why it was not working. For the chalk drawing. Okay, so I'm not at the level to make an ibis paint in my game, LOL. So instant there are 2 images. On top is the one with no chalk marks on the floor, and underneath is the one with the full drawing. Dots are used to reveal the drawing underneath, giving the illusion of drawing. Like, imagine an eraser kinda. I adapted this from a code meant for washing dishes I found on a forum, and yeah, I don't think that's how chalk behaves. I tweaked the code, but if you draw too fast, you can see the dots. I don't want to add too many because that can affect performance, so once you draw enough dots, the game reveals the full circle and counts it as completed, even if you missed spots. Lastly, the drag and drop curtains. This one is simple. When you click the hands PNG, it displays a ring PNG, and you drag it to the pole. Pure realism gameplay here, chat. Early tests were much harder to drag because the drop zone was too small. I made it larger, though sometimes it's still a bit tricky. But it functions. That was for the interactive gameplay. Coding the dialogue and setting up visuals took a lot of time, but it wasn't frustrating, just repetitive, which is a good sign in a sense. While coding the dialogue, I was also editing the script in the game. That way of avoiding a potential burnout. The intro is about 20 minutes long. I thought it was gonna be 10 minutes, but I think that's a decent start. My current limitation is art right now. I can draw, but I'm scared of burning out again. The last burnout made me not want to write at all, so right now visuals are simple and bare minimum. I'll improve them later once the structure is solid. My personal deadline is October 2026, but I know unexpected things will happen. My real goal is to finish the game by the end of 2026, or worst case, April 2027. By then, I'll be in cooking school and won't have this much free time. I really want to use this gap year wisely, but I am still following a plan that expects me to finish in October next year. So yeah, this devlog was more about showing what I've already done rather than explaining the full plan for FMC LOL. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll answer them. With that, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next update.